online are welcome to put their questions in the chat box. I would like to introduce the first speaker of this session, Mr. Muhammad Hamad Bashir Sadi, Project Expert, Private Financing Advisory Network, United Nations Industrial Development Organization. Mr. Hamad has been actively engaged in the business of consulting, business advisory, and has been trained by USAID. His current assignments include working for different specialized agencies of United Nations. Also managed was biggest clean tech accelerator and managed many innovative approaches in this program, thereby resulting in more clean tech innovations. Currently, he is a part of Private Finance Advisory Network, which is a global initiative focusing on financing for clean energy projects. He has participated as presenter in many 4IR-related conferences as speaker, and particular area of interest with reference to 4IR is Society 5.0 and tech startup support. He has got a master's degree in international business from Middlesex University, London, UK. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Muhammad Hamad Bashir Sadi on stage to speak about what is Society 5.0, Society 5.0 versus Industry 4.0. Stage is yours.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for this very kind introduction. And we are very much grateful to the host institution ITI that was arranged this event and such a good bunch of speakers. My introduction has already been given. My topic of presentation is slightly different. Slightly different in the sense that all the speakers, those who have been presenting today, they are talking about some technicalities, some technologies related to 4IR. What I will be speaking on is totally different aspect of fourth industrial revolution, that is Society 5.0. Anybody heard of Society 5.0 before? So Society 5, what is Society 5.0? I'll come to that. Okay. Brief introduction of my organization, UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, that is second part of this international conference. We are part of United Nations, and the name itself is self-explanatory. We're working for industrial development. We are headquartered in Vienna, Austria, and we have offices around the world and products around the world. We are a technical cooperation agency of the United Nations focusing on industrial development. Next, please. How does this organization UNIDO works? Firstly, it acts as a global forum. It generates and disseminates knowledge related to industrial issues. And one of the focus areas of UNIDO is this Industry 4.0. That is our mainstay. Like all of the UN organizations, they have we are different from other UN organizations in the sense that most of the UN organizations, in fact, all UN organizations have humanitarian aspect. We do have a humanitarian aspect also, like some of them are working on health and provision of food, working for immigration related issues, migrations, peace, and other things. We are different in the sense that we are focusing on industrial development. And within industrial development, we work as a global forum and we disseminate knowledge. And one of the most priority area within the global forum is Industry 4.0, and the other is gender mainstreaming, and third is a melange of both Industry 4.0 and gender mainstreaming. Also, the other role which UNIDO plays is that it's a technical cooperation agency, which means that it provides technical assistance in the areas which are its priority areas. Next, please. Talking about priority areas, what are the priority areas of UNIDO? These are the three main priority areas: poverty reduction for productive activities, trade capacity building, energy and environment. And when we talk of Industry 4.0 and gender mainstreaming, that are overarching, this means they are related to all of these three thematic areas, and we have technical cooperation projects in these three areas. And we look at these three areas with the lens of Industry 4.0 and gender-based training and few other priority areas. Next, please. So, talking about industrial revolution, we have discussed many times today. What is industrial revolution? The first, second, third, fourth. These are the industrial revolutions. There, so we should not go into these things because they have already been discussed. Now, next. When we talk of fourth industrial revolution, within the fourth industrial revolution, there are different waves. The fourth industrial revolution, first wave, it started in 2009, from 2009 to 2016. It involved digitalization, Internet of Things, advanced analytics, robotics, artificial intelligence. Second wave is artificial intelligence, blockchain, smart automation, 5G, 6G, future of energy, satellite internet. Now, the coming wave, which is 2025, till we never know up till when, it includes quantum computing, cybersecurity, neuro and nanotechnology, bioinformatics, and few dots. What are these dots called? There are technologies that we don't know. Nobody heard of this blockchain technology before 2016. People relate to that with crypto, but crypto helped in development of the blockchain technology, but we never know that a new technology, neurophysical psycho technology would come, which nobody heard. So this dot means there would be multiple technologies that would be coming and we don't know. Cobots is getting very popular in countries like Japan. The robots that work alongside with the human beings, collaborative robots, cobots. Next, please. Now, this is about industry. We've discussed a lot about industry. What is Society 5.0? Society 5.0 is human integration and technology. Human integration and technology. Next, please. The definition of Society 5.0 is human-centered society that balances economic advancement with the resolution of social problems by a system that highly integrates cyberspace and physical space. So this definition, which is fourth industrial revolution, was very much conceived by the certain organizations, international organizations, primarily based in Germany. So fourth industrial revolution and many things, terminologies, they emerged from Germany. Society 5.0, it emerged from Japan. So this is a Japanese concept, and now, but that is applicable to all around the world. In simple word, what is Society 5.0? Society 5.0 is the convergence of cyberspace and physical space. Now, we have seen in the early 2000s that there was a term that was used that is called digital gap. Digital gap is a term that is used as the division, the difference between the developed countries and developing countries. That creates economic disparities between developed countries and developing countries. And what was the reason? Technology, non-adoption of technology. And that is a serious issue. Society 4.0 is again the same thing in the context of Industry 4.0. So we're not talking about technology, we're talking about human interaction with the physical world's interaction with the cyber world. And what would that result in? Everything that is revolves around that is called Society 5.0. Society 5.0 is reality, it's happening, and it's a very, very serious issue. It's a huge opportunity also. If we do not adopt the Society 5.0 standards, then it would be disastrous for all the developing countries, because there's the discrepancy, the difference between the developed world, their technologies, their adoption of technologies, their interaction with humans using technology would increase, their cost of production would increase, they would be having lots of advanced technologies with so multiple areas which would help the economy grow many folds. And Society 4.0 is the social impact of that developed countries have adopted, but developing countries need to adopt. So this is something that developing countries need to prepare themselves to face this challenge of Society 5.0. When we talk of the history of fourth industrial revolution, the different phases that have been mentioned in many of the previous presentations, is that we talk about the four industrial revolutions, which is rather new concept in the sense that industrial revolution, first industrial revolution was referred to just 300 years old. But how old is this concept of society 5.0? Anybody have an idea? Next slide. We'll come to that. So this is the society 5.0 industry. The industrial revolution, it was only this I mentioned, and all of the speakers mentioned it started 200 or 250 years, or maybe 300 years old. But this is something that dates back to thousands or maybe millions of years of humanity. The first society that is being referred as society 1.0 is thousands or maybe millions of years ago, called society 1, society 1.0, that is referred as society 1.0, in which the humans involved in basically primarily hunting, and they would eat whatever the animal they could hunt, and that is referred as society 1.0. Now, then came, after millions of years or maybe thousands of years, nobody has got the clear indication when was that. But again, this next society is this is agriculture. Agriculture society, when people develop this art of making certain tools for agriculture, that society, that era is referred to as society 2.0. Then came the third society, which is industrial society. Third, that is industrial society. Industrial society could be something close to what we call as the second industrial revolution. Then after that is the information society. Information society, if you want to compare that or relate that with the fourth industrial revolution, it is conforms to the third industrial revolution. So third industrial revolution is something like that is related to society 4.0, and this is fourth industrial revolution, society 2, the fourth industrial, second industrial revolution, which is society 3.0. Now the new concept is society 5.0, that is fourth industrial revolution, and the economic, social, cultural, and other aspects of fourth industrial revolution that primarily involves physical space and its integration with the cyberspace. That is society 5.0. This is again, I developed an interest in this area by working for India, because one of our areas and as mentioned by my boss, Dr. Bernardo, in his opening address, that we are not only looking after the aspects of Industry 4.0 and related physics, we are working on Society 5.0. Society 5.0 is another focus area of my organization, and I personally developed this interest in this thing when I was doing research long time back in 2000. We developed at that time there was no concept of this industrial revolution, the fourth industrial revolution. No, we thought of industrial revolution, but we did some research and we named that research called sociotech. Sociotech was a research based on the effects of computerization and technology. That was in year 2001. So around more than 20 years back, 21 years back. So that research was focused on effects of computerization on society, the effect of computerization on culture. How would the culture be affected? How would the values of the people would be affected by the access to information? What would be the change in the behavior of the people by the advancement in the technology? How would people react to a technology? That is called sociotech. That is in the era of information era. That's called sociotech. Now, Society 5.0 is the advanced version of sociotech. Next, please. So, Society 4.0, what is the difference between the Society 4.0 and what is Society 4.0? How come it is leading to Society 5.0 is when we talk of economies of scale. It is Society 4.0 is focused on efficiency. But Society 5.0 is problem solving and value creation. The Society 5.0 is leading towards betterment of society that needs to be adopted. Uniformity, if we talk of uniformity, 4.0 was primarily focusing on liberation from suppression of individuality. Now, Society 5.0 and its standards, they talk of diversity, a society where anyone and everyone can exercise diverse abilities. We have there are new technologies coming. There are new robotics and other technologies. There's a term called disability tech. This means tech companies that are working for those people who have special needs, for those people who are in one way or other handicap with special needs. So for diversity, for differently able people, for able people. Now that is what is Society 5.0. In terms of concentration, liberation from disparity. Now it talks about decentralization, a society where anyone can get opportunities anytime, anywhere. In terms of vulnerability, liberation from anxiety. Society 5.0, this international standards, it talks about society where people can live and pursue challenges in a security. High environmental impacts and mass consumption of resources, liberation from resources and environmental constraints, sustainability, environmental harmony. So this standard, Society 5.0, now in the whole world, the leading country is Japan, and we are thankful to the Japanese University of Tokyo and also their research institutions called Hitachi Institute of Hitachi, which is one of the biggest industry, and that they are having this huge research center in Tokyo, along with the University of Tokyo. They have been very helpful in giving us regular information on Society 5.0 and what are they doing related to that. Sustainability and okay. So environmental, this is also something that is also domain of WILO. So we are working very closely with them to implement Society 5.0 to disseminate information related to Society 5.0 and why adoption of Society 5.0 is necessary for all the developing countries of the world. Next, please. Okay. So it talks about economic development. So that economic and social issues, the economic, what are the problems that are whenever there is a prosperity, there is economic development, it also comes with lots of issues, lots of burning issues, lots of constraints. So demand of energy rising. So resolution of social problems under Society 5.0 is reduction of GHG emissions. Foodstuff is increasing, increased production and reduce loss of food. So what is this increased production? The biotechnology, more production using biotechnology, reducing loss of foodstuff that many countries have adopted. In Germany, they have adopted this saying that how can the post-harvest crop would be reduced using robotics, using they have developed certain lenses. In fact, our organization has also supported some lenses with an AI algorithm that detects when the plant is right and that it should be picked, and it should be picked by the robots. So that is what the Society 5.0 is at. Now, why we are saying this thing is because many countries are doing this thing who have got resources. So the developing countries should also adopt these things. IoT devices that have been just mentioned in presentation before me. So lifespan become longer and the aging cycle is run. Mitigation of costs associated with aging cycle, providing more technology for the serving of humanity for aged people. International competition promotes sustainable industrialization, sustainable environment-friendly industrialization. That is energy efficient. That is resulting in less emission of carbon, conservation of wealth and regional equality, redistribution of wealth and correction of regional equality. So this is what is the aim of Society 4.0, which is a standard that needs to be followed. Though it seems that what I'm talking about is something out of the world, something utopia. Obviously, it is not a utopia. Utopia is not, everything is not perfect, it's not possible. All these things that are being mentioned here in the standard of Society 5.0, it can't be 100% adopted, but we can try under this Society 5.0 to at least leading towards these things. Leading these things, and how can you lead these things? We'll discuss that also. So incorporating new technologies, IoT, robotics, AI, big data in all industries and social activities. Goods and services that granularly address manifold latent needs without disparity. So it causes lesser disparity. So using technology for the economic development, that is also very important part of Society 5.0. Next, please. Now, as discussed with the Honorable Minister today also, and I was very impressed by the Honorable Secretary of came this morning, that he talked about the Industry 2.0, its impact, and he gave the suggestion that there are very talented young population in Sri Lanka who can be channelized to face the challenges given by the fourth industrial revolution. And what are the challenges given by the fourth industrial revolution? It is the Society 5.0. Now, how can we adopt which technologies can we adopt, and how can we face the challenges is by supporting startups. Startups in the area of tech area, startups obviously in the area of 4IR technologies. Next, please. So this is the typical UNITO model that we adopt. In fact, the same model was, you must have seen the same model that my colleague, Mr. Alexa, he did this in the first presentation that we developed. We developed knowledge and skills, global forum, technical cooperation, research policy, normative work to fourth industrial revolution. So this is the typical the cycle that we adopt for our projects, and how can we do it next, please? And what we have done, we supported few in different countries, different ideas, like very simple ideas. This is Zaheen machine of Pakistan that offers reduction in gas and electricity consumption through IoT automation. That is a simple device. There's no rocket science involved, but since it is something related to leading towards not pure IoT, but leading towards IoT, so that is a small device that can be it's a retrofit device put on water geysers and used in the winters that controls the regulator of the geysers. Now, there's a problem that in many countries like Pakistan, in the winter the natural gas is used for water geysers, and the natural gas, the traditional geysers, they are very huge and very energy inefficient because there is no proper mechanism of control. They have just a thermostat and it keeps on burning throughout the night. And even though if you put the thermostat in certain position, it keeps on running irrespective of the use. So what they did, they did a simple plug-and-play device that automates the thermostat of the geyser, and that can be controlled through your mobile device. So there is a microchip in that. There's a that can be controlled through the comfort of your home and without physically going outside in the winter and controlling that. So this is no rocket science, but this is something that is leading towards the sustainability. And we calculated this thing, we supported this idea, we gave them cash prizes, we gave trained them, we sent them to Silicon Valley University also for further mentoring and training. And they came up with this idea and they started in production. In 1 year, they sold thousands of devices. And we calculated the amount of carbon reduction through supporting this device, and it was thousands of tons of CO2 equivalent were reduced by this device, because this device was saving huge amount of natural gas where it was being burned in the geysers without any monitoring. So it's electronic monitoring. Similarly, in South Africa, we talked about agri-related. We talked about food production in Society 5.0. So My Smart Farm was a startup from South Africa that offers a data dashboard solution for farmers, including remote and on-farm data. And that also, there was again an idea that was supported by Legal South Africa, and that is just data collection. And this is just one example, but we supported many startups in the agri sector also. And this is just for gathering data. Similarly, Positive Energy, that's a startup in Turkey, and they're doing very good. They are a startup that is developed IoT devices and cloud-based analytics for energy consumption in commercial buildings. Again, for all of these things, we did analysis, and by promoting these simple ideas, startups, we managed to reduce huge amount of CO2 emissions, huge amount of GHG emissions. So that leads to sustainability. So again, next please. This is then another startup that is supported in Africa, that is acacia-based. This is also agriculture-related monitoring that is used in large scale for basically for cattle and crops farming. activities. And this was slightly complicated, but again, this was in countries like Africa, it was very useful. So the bottom line is that we need the countries like Sri Lanka in order to face the challenges of and to be adaptable to the society 5.0. We need to support startups with innovative ideas that lead to sustainability. Next, please. So then we talked about blockchain. So blockchain, as it was all of you know this thing, that blockchain is basically distributed ledger. It's a distributed ledger where each data in the form of a block exists, and each block of information is connected with one another in the form of a chain. That's why it's called blockchain. So it's like a chain of blocks. So if you remove one block from that chain, the whole chain will be affected. And that is the basic science, the basic technology, the basic concept of blockchain. Now, using that blockchain for the betterment of society is just like the one Dr. Sunil Mani from the Dubai government, he gave this idea, presented this idea that is being implemented in the government, is basically it is used for traceability. Now that blockchain technology, though it was formed initially for the crypto, but that is used in multiple areas in e-government. It also, this was from Switzerland, and it is the traceability of the food. Because food obviously is everybody's requirement, and developing countries and developed countries, they need to support the innovative ideas in every area. So this was also something that provides information and traceability of the ingredients of any product by just looking at scanning the barcode on the product, that what is the whole chain where the ingredients of this particular food has come from. So that was very much appreciated. It also won some international prizes. Also, smart lenses. IoT and augmented reality enabled to provide remote technical assistance to test laboratories. Smart lenses, and many other new technologies can be. And also, like when we talk of technology, there's no limit to technology. It can be really augmented reality based agriculture support. Also, it can be simple agriculture support. Like we supported one idea of this IoT devices which are for the potato crop. That in potato plant, you put that device, it would measure, it would detect the amount of moisture in the soil, and as soon as the moisture is less, it will automatically turn on the water supply when it is required. And if the moisture content is enough for the potato field, it will automatically switch off the water supply. So in this case, water is saving, water is life. So similar, this kind of areas are the ones that can be supported, that we should all support and we are supporting, and we look forward to do similar kind of activities we are already doing in Sri Lanka also. Now, another aspect of society 5.0 is the gender. The gender gap. There have been lots of research in this area, gender and industrialization. The gender gap. That is the gap between the women work in the workforce, just like it was presented in today's second presentation by the respected lady from the policy study of Sri Lanka about the labor gap and women participation. Now that is also another very serious issue related to Society 5.0. That we recently published, there is just like I told you that our organization also works as an information dissemination. We conducted a huge study on 4IR and gender. That is freely available on our website, video.org. You can go to the publication section, and this is the first one in the publication because it's very recently published. And that is something that provides data of how would the women workforce being affected by food revolution, and that is something related to Society 5.0. The gender gap, how is that increasing? Women in technology, female labor force participation in manufacturing sector, how would that be affected by the introduction of new technologies, by the robotics, how would the obviously male would be affected also, but how would the woman be affected? So there are lots of things that needs thinking. There are lots of things which are food for thought. How do we need to change our policies? How do we need to change our priorities to face these challenges? So in this presentation, there are purpose of that is to tell you about something what is Society 5.0, what are the effects, what can be done, but there are still many questions for which we need to think. We need to act. So, women in technology, female labor force, gender, that's also another issue. And that issue would become a serious issue unless we ensure gender participation, we do gender mainstreaming, ensure gender mainstreaming in each and every aspect of technology and each and every aspect of technology's utilization. Next, please. So in this digital, there's a huge research again for this research which has been quoted by our headquarter also. It is claimed that investment in soft skills such as socio-emotional intelligence are important to increase employment prospects. Thus, soft skills training programs have become an increasingly common form of youth employment policy in developing countries. So, Society 5.0 is not all about technology. It's about soft skills also. It's about, and another thing with reference to the this gender aspect is that women have an advantage in soft skills, at least partly because of their key responsibility in the household and their work experience in job that generally requires soft skills. So this is another thing in which our organization is working. They are keen to work, and we would require other organizations, other people to think on this aspect, the gender in technology. There have been lots of researches, and in developing countries, it has been found out that there are certain fields which are being preferred by female, in especially say in if you talk South Asia, the health sector and the teaching sector, they are to some extent women dominated, and they are the ones areas that are being preferred by the women. But it has been observed this saying that there are certain technical areas. If you talk of engineering, the hardcore engineering or maybe mechanical engineering, there are least number of women participation in these Indian subcontinent area. There may be cultural issues, there may be trend issues. So that is something that is increasing, and that will increase the gap, the gender gap when you talk of technology and 4IR in the context of Society 5.0. Next, please. Road ahead. What needs to be done? What needs to be done, and what we have discussed about problems, strengthening the innovation ecosystem. The only solution to face these challenges is an innovative approach. The innovative approach for promoting innovative ideas, the whole ecosystem needs to be developed. Ecosystem needs to be revamped to cater for and growth of 4IR related technologies. So there are barriers. Shift to near-term thinking. Those who do not innovate will fall behind. Fewer resources for innovation. Again, challenge and issue in many developing countries. Data. We are living in the world of data. We are living in an information age. Information and data are two related things. Information has an upper hand over data. And we have been living in information society. But Society 5.0 is more than information, it is data-driven society. Data is considered though at a lower level in terms of data, that organized data is become information. So we were living in information society, but society 5.0 refers to data-driven society, where things would depend on data, the availability of data, and things would revolve and act according to data more than the information. So, and also like the data exchanges, the pivotal role of data that nobody can deny this amount of data that is being transmitted all around the world. What are the drivers? Industrial policy 4.0. Industrial policy has to be revamped to cater for an innovative ecosystem. Platformization, they need to be institutionalized. They need to be promoted as an institution. Co-creation, virtual co-creation. Now we live in the virtual world. So virtual co-creation, there are many other things which would support the ecosystem by supporting the startups. And obviously, it ultimately an evolving innovation ecosystem needs to be developed. Okay, this is again the typical our organization's approach to industry AI gender gap. We did some research, and if you look at this is the global one, and you can see the statistics. We'll talk about the gender gap, and this is alarming. And you can all see this thing on the right side. It's the male, and that's the female. The healthcare education. So, what needs to be done? Digital skill gap, digital gender divide, and lack of STEM professionals. So, the quality of the STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, their professionals need to be increased, and their quality needs to be improved. So, we are trying to provide open source platforms. We created some open source platforms where information related to our researches and approaches they are being given free of cost. Factory labs, capability centers are developed, distance learning, smart learning, technical and vocational training. That's another thing to basically to upgrade the skills. So, what the road ahead? How would the working society 5.0? How would it affect the working? Industrial upgrading, MSMEs. One good aspect, no, there are many good aspects of Society 5.0, but one good opportunity that this MSMEs, the micro and small and medium-sized enterprises, they can also play a very important role in Society 5.0. Society 5.0 is, though there are different approaches to Society 5.0, one approach is the saying that this is the growth and the domination of the large transnational or multinational companies, but MSMEs would, the technology-based MSMEs could grow rapidly in Society 5.0 because any MSMEs or any startup coming up with innovative technology that can grow drastically in months, if not in weeks. Smart manufacturing, 4IR innovation, value chains, SMEs, cluster. So these are all things would be affected that I just mentioned. Smart cities, which have already been mentioned by one of the speakers from the Dubai government. Innovation ecosystem we talked about, entrepreneurship and startups. So this presentation I'm discussing on this thing that we've been doing and that needs to be continued. Thanks. So that is all about my presentation. So if there are any questions.
Yeah, you will be can. So thank you, Mr. Ahmad Bashir, for your very talk. It was very informative. Thank you very much again. So the last speaker of today's session is Mr. Ajmal